Brave Talks. I am Marlene Dominguez, and I'm joined with my amazing husband,
Manny.
And if you can see us, you see that we are wearing really colorful patterns today because we're going to be talking about parenting, and there's nothing more colorful in this life than
so good.
being a parent.
So good.
I am excited about this conversation because I just love being a mom. So
yes,
let's get into it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Parenting is a whole thing. It's a whole world.
We can talk about this forever.
Yeah, it changes everything. And so I want to ask you, my darling, did you always want to be a parent? I know you just said you love being a mom. When did that desire start for you? I'm curious.
I've always wanted to be a mother. Like in our previous podcast, we spoke about always wanting to be a wife, but I've always dreamt about being a mom. And ever since I was younger, again, playing with Barbie dolls and playing with my friends, I've always said I wanted to have, I don't know how many kids I thought at the time, but I always wanted a big family. Yeah. And I just love the idea of having babies, and I just love kids. Ever since I was younger, I was always I was the person that kids would just come up to. And
you're magnet.
Yeah, yes. Honestly, and that's something I take pride in. I love being a safe place for kids to come to, but I've also was the oldest of 3 sisters. So I felt like I was ushered into motherhood from the beginning.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, like I had to be a mom, and my mom did the best she could with us, but she lacked a lot of things where I had to come in and step, especially being born and raised in Washington Heights, and my mom only knowing the Spanish language. I had to step in and be that for my sisters.
Wow, so like in advocacy,
yes,
in example,
everything,
in translation, nurture.
And yeah, because the way I was disciplined was really intense.
Yeah.
So I had to really love on my sisters in a specific way that was gentle that I never got before.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, I've always dreamt about being a mom.
That's powerful.
How about you?
Yeah, I think for me...
You've always dreamt about being a daddy?
You know, with a Z.
With a Z?
You know what? I think, yes, it's crazy. Before I desired marriage, I desired a son.
Yeah,
Does that
I
make
think
sense?
that's normal for a lot of people that come from where we come from because
inner
of what
city
we've
communities.
seen.
Yes, yeah, I think you're right.
You're like, yo, I want to be an example. I want to lead. When in reality, that is so hard.
Yeah, and even selfishly, you think like, I'm amazing. I want to duplicate myself into, my namesake or my junior or whatever. So yeah, I think I always did want to become a father at some point. And, for me, not having a dad from a young age, it made it almost this like wondrous thing that like, I wonder what it'll be. There's people listening that perhaps have a dad, an earthly father, even like a blood dad or a stepfather, that they're like, I want to be just like him.
Right.
In my parenthood or in my fatherhood. And then there's others that like had such a sour relationship with their parent that they're like, I want to be the opposite of him or her. And
it's
so
like
for
two
me,
extremes.
Yeah, I have neither of those. I have the extreme or the posture of, I wonder what it's like to be a dad because I never saw it, which is interesting. I mean, and I think there's people, just statistically, there are so many people that can relate to that because of the fatherlessness kind of epidemic that we have
and you had
in our culture.
A phenomenal mom to this day.
Yes.
The most
And she was mother and father.
She was amazing
in many
for
ways.
both.
Yeah. So that was helpful. And yet and still, becoming a dad for me, I was so scared, babe.
Right.
I don't know if any parents can relate to this. If you are a parent, if you're not, this episode is still for you.
Yes.
We want to tell you that. But as a expecting father, when you were pregnant, I was so scared.
For our firstborn?
Yes. My insecurity surfaced of, I've never done this before. I've never seen it modeled. Am I going to fail? Am I good enough to be a dad? Do I have anything to teach him? Do I have anything to offer him? All that stuff surfaced, which was so good. Because when those things surface, you realize, 1, your life is not just about you. And 2, it almost makes you lift up your eyes beyond yourself. And that was like a strengthening of faith for me, because I had like a failure of nerve, and that led me to the transcendence of God to say, I need you.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And I do want to say, you've also worked with kids as well, and you've always been amazing. So when I considered you
that.
as a spouse, I was thinking of my future children as well, because I knew the amazing dad that they were going to have. I saw how amazing you were with your niece and nephew. And I also saw the way you were with our students. And I really, really love that.
And that's why, thanks for saying that, babe. That's why this episode really is for everybody.
Yes.
Because even if you don't have any kids of your own, there are people in your life that we believe God is calling you to mentor.
Yes.
To spiritually parent,
yes.
right? To like lay down your life to see them flourish. And you're right. I think in our teenage years, we did that for younger people. We wanted to be an example and love on them. And that was so helpful and formative.
And to this day, we still speak to some of those kids, and it was amazing. Yeah.
When those kids become adults, that's crazy.
So for me, becoming a parent wasn't easy for me.
Was not easy?
It was not easy. I was diagnosed with endometriosis when we first got married. And can
I just say thank you for your bravery? Like, this is what Brave Talk is all about. Why is it, babe, but there's such a taboo with women talking about endo?
There's a taboo with women talking about anything, because the devil hates women. You know, the devil hates new birth. He hates women. He hates the transparency, everything. Yeah. And when it comes to society and what we can talk about, we've just been shamed about periods, about miscarriages, about everything that women have to kind of go through.
So talk to us about endo. So you were diagnosed, I think, a year into our marriage or 6 months. It was quick.
It was quick. I knew something was always wrong with me, because I had terrible, painful periods my entire life. I grew up dancing at Auburn, and I just remember always missing rehearsals and things like that my whole life, because I was just in so much pain. And it wasn't until we got married and I got an opinion or a second opinion at that too, that I was diagnosed with endometriosis, and that was really shameful for me. I actually didn't speak about that.
For those that don't know, what is endo? Like, what is happening to your body?
So it's not PCOS. I know that's more of the known kind of like hormone disruptor, but it is a hormone disruptor is when the tissues in your uterus grow outside of of the uterus instead of inside, causing blockage in your eggs and also
ovary and all that.
Yeah, your ovaries, and so much pain. Like, it's just the pain that comes behind it that leads into infertility. Is just so much.
That sounds so painful.
It is.
Like in intercourse.
You walked that out with me.
Yeah, that just sounds, I mean.
You did. So I remember being in the OBGYN office at the time, because I then ended up going more of a holistic route, and that was really helpful for me. But being in the OBGYN office, and he's like, hey, you've been diagnosed with endo. And I'm like, I need you to spell it for me, because I've never heard about this before. Endo, I was just so upset, not with God, but like with myself. We waited to have sex till marriage. I was so excited. And when he said those words, endo, and I said, spell it, what does that mean? He's like, yeah, this is what it means. And I said, okay, what does that mean for me to potentially have my own children? He's like, well, it's going to be hard. You might need to do IVF. You might need to have all these things. And at the time, I didn't have any framework of.
Do you feel like as he was spelling it out for you, the word that was spelled was BROKEN?
That's it, broken. I was broken. I felt so insufficient. And it was so hard for me to hear that, because not only was I always wanting to be a mom, but I also always wanted to be a dad. And then we just got married, and I get this news, and I'm like, I didn't tell anyone. Wow. I didn't tell my closest friends. I didn't tell anyone. I felt so broken. It wasn't until months later that we decided to go through with the surgery. Didn't tell a lot of people either. It was very just between you and I didn't really allow people in that season, because again, I never had anyone talk to me about this. I never really had exposure to it. I just felt broken. I felt insufficient. So heavy. But I do remember right before my surgery asking the Lord for healing over my body, and still going through a surgery, but asking the Lord. I remember a mentor at the time really reminded me of what I spoke about in the previous podcast about my identity. And I remember having some time by myself with the Lord and saying, God, you know my desire. You know how I've always wanted to be a mother, and you know how I've always wanted to bear my own babies. And I want you to make this happen for me eventually. And I remember again, like he's done in so many seasons of my life, he whispered, you are not a mom first. You're not a wife first. You are my daughter first.
Oh, so good.
And I just remember this burden being lifted off of me, of this desire I've always wanted in my life. And honestly, not being completely content with not being a mom, because the desire was still there. It was being content with not being a mom in that season. Because it's not like we were trying. We were very much content with not having kids. It's just the idea that I possibly wouldn't be able to because I was older and just all these things. It was just the fear of the unknown.
And that's when anxiety creeps in, because the contentment you found is that you were going to be present and trust the Lord now.
Yes.
Anxiety creeps in when you start worrying about the future.
Yes.
And you say, okay, then if not now, then when?
Then when?
Then if not later, then when? And then you start trying to control outcomes.
And as a control freak my whole life and someone who's dealt with anxiety was being named for me. Like, no, this is what you're anxious about and this is what I need you to trust me in.
Yes.
And I did. It was great. I got my surgery. I felt really good. We went about our first few years of marriage and we loved it. And I went through a more holistic herbal route and started healing my body from within. Fell in love with just holistic medicine and all the things. And to this day.
Yeah. Holistic, healthy life. We could talk about that too in a pod if y'all want to hear more about that.
Yes.
So then how...
It's not normal for us Latinos, Dominicans to be talking about that. But I love all things healing.
So how did all of that, control freak, anxiety, healing, holistic living, transformation, impact once we got pregnant, which was... our son came right before the pandemic, December of 2019.
A week before Christmas, a little gift. Our Levi Manuel.
That's right. Which that was like a beautiful kind of like surprise pregnancy for us. We didn't know if it'll happen. It happened. And then we journeyed. We were trying to get pregnant in 2020 because that's like a super cool year. So we entered 2019 thinking 2020 vision, it's going to be amazing. And then we got pregnant in 2019 and we're like, oh, okay, a little bit sooner than we probably wanted to.
And God helped us dodge a bullet.
And thank the Lord, because as everyone knows, in March of 2020, the world shut down and the pandemic hit. But talk to me a little bit about like how did all that impact and influence the way you parented our first son and then our second?
Like the control and stuff?
Everything, like your
all
approach
of
to
that
parenting.
Showed me how we never have control in the beginning.
Fire, yes.
Are you kidding me? Becoming a mom made me realize you were never in control, darling. You just had a false illusion that you were in control. Yeah. And for me, I did struggle with postpartum anxiety. That was really hard for me. From January to December 2020 was the hardest year of our life. We had loss after loss. Nothing was wrong with our baby. He was perfectly fine. It was a really long and hard birth. And I love all things birth and labor, so I can talk about that forever. But we labored with Levi for a good 33 hours and I still gave birth to him at a birthing center. And it just impacted me a lot, but it also... becoming a mom surfaced so much anxiety. It was kind of like a switch turned on for me that I don't know how to turn it off.
Oh, you learned that. That's such a good phrase.
Someone had shared that with me. And I'm so thankful she put words to what I was feeling, because once I became a mother, it was kind of like this automatic switch that I just never knew how to turn off, because now my heart is living outside of my body. That is the hardest thing about parenting. It's literally like, he's sick, now I'm struggling. Like, it's such a hard thing. But beautiful at the same time, because you wouldn't really care deeply about something you don't love.
That's so good. Now, again, we're not parenting experts. We're just having the brave conversation about parenting. Now, we really believe in like a child's formation and what that is. And maybe contrary to the way we were raised and a lot of people were raised, that maybe our millennials or other. I saw this beautiful statistic the other day. I wish I had it pulled up, but I read it that this generation of men, like millennial fathers, are more present to their kids than any other generation ever in history.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
Yes.
And we could talk about that. And why that is. But I want you, my love, to talk about this, because I think you are an incredible mother. And I'm not just saying that. I really do believe that of you, watching you work, watching you do your thing, as both somebody who mothers our children at home all day and works a business. What's your philosophy on parenting? I'm not saying it's the perfect one, but it is ours. Your approach to a gentle and intentional form of parenting. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So first of all, children are a gift from God.
Yeah, that's biblical.
They are a gift from the Lord. And I learned that. It's hard, it's long, but they are a gift to us.
It's good framing.
Now, I was not raised gentle at all. I, again, don't want to discredit anything that my mom needed to do because she did the best she could. But I struggled a lot growing up as a kid with my identity. I was I wasn't spoken life into.
Yeah.
And that was hard for me. And the way that I learned parenting was reactive and spanking and just all the things that came with raising a daughter so young. And I just knew that as a mom, I wanted to be different. So that really impacted me. But what I wasn't expecting was how much that was going to come up in my parenting.
Yeah.
And how much I needed to parent myself in the midst of parenting my boys. That was not something I was realizing that I was going to have to go through. And it rocked me when I realized, wait a minute, this is how my flesh and my body and my memory will react. But then I'm looking at this innocent little boy who's 1.5, who doesn't have any idea what he's doing.
We are interpreting a moment of, for example, of what's the word for it when they're having a hard time regulating a tantrum? Thank you. They're maybe having
a normal tantrum for their age.
No, correct, precisely. They're having I'm new to the world, trying to figure out why can I get what I want? And we, as parents, normally interpret that as disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, you're disrespecting me, 2-year-old, I'm going to, and then we want to respond with that control thing. I want to make sure that you respect me and I'm going to control your reaction so that you don't do this again because now I'm embarrassed. That's when I was about me again.
Yeah.
You're tantruming at the grocery store, trying to regulate. And instead of me worrying about self-regulating and me saying, you know what, benefit of the doubt, let me help him or her, I'm going to make sure that they never do this again or try to.
And that's key. Self-regulation within yourself. Before you try to regulate anything that your kid is doing, you need to regulate yourself. So I started diving deep into what that looks like. Right? I started reading books. I'm not a huge reader. So it was really important for me to learn.
Yeah, you were passionate enough to read and listen to pods and stuff.
Exactly. I was passionate enough to be like, I want to change what my future generation looks like. And it was so cool because you jumped on that same bandwagon. I've never seen you in our marriage, in our friendship, raise your voice at anyone, at myself. So I knew, again, I married you for me, but I really married you for them as well because I knew they were going to have the most amazing, fun, loving parents. And I can attest to this day, they are obsessed with you. I've never met boys more obsessed with their fathers than our boys because they find so much safety and love and not judgment. You keep a really good firm line of hey, I'm not going to play with you, but I'm also going to love you and kiss you and respect you and nurture you and be really loving and kind. So for me, it just kind of I didn't expect to parent myself when I began parenting my kids. And it is a hard but beautiful journey.
Oh, my word.
And then I realized, hey, I want to become someone who they can trust and not break their little spirit. So there's so much terms going around and what kind of parentings we do.
Sure.
And gentle parenting is one of them. I wanted at first to become a gentle parent until it started becoming more of a permissive parenting.
Like passive almost.
Passive in society. Yeah. So I think, what do you call it? You don't call it gentle. You call it
intentional parenting.
Intentional parenting.
Because it's really one and the same. The approach to gentleness is really the consideration of the person before you react.
That's it.
That's what creates a posture of gentleness. Is you remember in a moment of what's perceived hurt for you, disobedience for you, disrespect for you, of oh yeah, this is how fully developed your brain is, and not even fully at all. It's 10% developed. So the gentle posture comes from a place of actually understanding.
Yes.
So the breakthrough that came for me as I partnered with you on this journey when our first son was born was that, frankly, family, it made sense. It made sense that
they're human.
We need to consider their phase of formation in the way we're treating them and raising them. And here's my biggest thing, y'all. Whether you're a parent or not, maybe this can hit with you. And we were young parents in our 20s. We realized, I want my kid to be a leader, but I'm not letting him or her practice or express themselves.
in their leadership at home.
I want them to be confident and to speak up, but you better not speak up when you talk to
me. Yeah, like
how can we expect our kids to be formed into these leaders that are self-respecting and confident and not afraid to fail, that are brave, hence our conversation, if we're not afraid, or if we are afraid to see them, get hurt and express, and maybe even hurt our feelings as they are expressing, partnering with them as they are forming sentences and emotions. That's been a breakthrough for me. So yes, call it gentle parenting, call it intentional parenting. I just love the path that we're on, and we're happy to talk about that more.
Yeah, and they're going to practice that with you. That's another thing I learned. I think what's been so important to me has been being a mom with other moms.
Yeah.
Right? Allowing other moms in my life. I've been so fortunate to have had babies with my friends, and we're each other's tias. Like, they have full permission to speak into my parenting journey, and I as well. And that has been a game changer for me, because I've been able to learn not only from them, we're able to grow in this together. And I remember Levi's a strong-willed boy.
Oh, yeah.
He came from 2 strong-willed parents.
Yep.
And I remember one of my friends was like, girl, what did you expect? That Levi was going to be like this super submissive, introverted kid? Like, no, he's going to practice that with you at home first.
Yes.
And there's boundaries. And I'm not saying I'm going to let this little boy walk all over me.
No.
There's boundaries, and there's a level of respect. And now that he's 5, he's just the most beautiful.
Oh my word, it's incredible.
Amazing kid.
What we're saying then in short, my love, is like, let your kid be who God created them to be and partner with the Lord in their development. So if your kid was born literally like super sweet, submissive, introverted, beautiful, nourish that, develop that, allow the Lord to continue to make them, like, it's the Bible verse, if I may, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he or she should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. Like, just train them up. Don't change them. Don't train them up. Like son, daughter, this is who the Lord has called you to be. This is your identity. We're going to explore what your purpose is in life, but like, flourish, allow them to flourish in how the Lord has created them, the way that they are. We believe, like, our first one, super strong-willed. Our second one is a brave, hence his middle name.
Yes.
We knew
Brave
as
is
we were
his middle name.
naming him, like, he knows no fear. He is outspoken. He's an advocate. He is adventurous. But
he's also more introverted
than the first, socially.
Yeah. So Levi, one thing that I will have to say about Levi, we are still very passionate with all of our children to raise them to be very confident, and Levi is that.
Yeah.
He's a very confident, and I pray that he never, ever has to loses that, because he will rap in a second, and he will dance in a second, and he gets that from his parents.
Yeah, he will show up in a moment. And he gets confidence because sometimes, and this is all for all of us, sometimes you need people to believe in you before you believe in you.
Yes,
and
that's good.
As parents or spiritual mentors to people, that is our job. Instill belief and confidence into your child so that they have it for themselves.
And that's one thing I lacked in growing up. I just never had that. Like, I never had a mom or a person who believed in me. Well, I did have people believe in me growing up. I will have to say that, but someone who invested that in me in the home. And you had that with your mom.
Yeah, super grateful. I did, and I do. And statistically, there is such beauty when a home has both parents. Like, I'm honored that we get to both be present to our kids. And you can look it up. It's proven that kids flourish more into their adulthood when they have both parents present. And we know, my gosh, both of us, had single parent homes for forever, and then have step parents that we both love so much right now.
And who've loved on us.
It looks so differently. So if you're a single parent, we love you. Anytime Marlene is away on a work trip or something, and I have my boys by myself for a weekend, I'm like, shout out to single parents. That is it's just so difficult.
It's hard.
So I have so much respect for single parents. And I want to say that something needs to be done about the lack of fatherhood in our country. Like, I hope that I'm the kind of man that will inspire other men, that if you have kids and you're a dad, that you will also step up and be a father.
Yes.
That if you were a part of partnering with the Lord and your significant other, in bringing life into the world, then you will also take the responsibility of fathering that life. Fail forward. Like, we want to be a space in this podcast where hopefully you can glean from and say, okay, I can try that. I can learn that. I disagree with that, but I want to explore this, because we need fathers, babe.
Yeah.
We need fathers to take their place and raise up sons and daughters.
And releasing that machismo, like you said in a few podcasts ago, because you are so gentle. Our kids don't expect you to not kiss them or to not clean after them. Like, there are, when I hear moms say, which I get it, like, hey, their dad is babysitting them. I'm like, my husband doesn't babysit our kids. Like, he's equally there, present. And obviously, I'm at home with the boys and I'm a stay-at-home mom, and you work outside of the home most of the time. And there's a different dynamic when it comes to that. But I'm talking about, or what you're talking about, is that genuine connection about being a father. And the things that our kids are learning from you is insane. It's that modeling, because I wouldn't be able to do that for them. And we see a lot of heartbreak and a lot of baggage in grown men when they are raised without their fathers, even women as well. I've been through that, and I have blessed that I had a stepfather come in and who was a safe place for me, but also you navigate conversations with them. I mean, I think about this morning and just all the things you were instructing them, and they're so hungry to know what you're saying, and then you can slam them on the couch the next second. It's it's such a respect that they have for you, or like the way that they communicate with me. Like, Levi called me, what did he call me this morning?
My love.
He's like, good morning, my love. I'm like,
huge.
Good morning, darling.
And he saw that modeled by his father. So I want to talk about that now. When you are a young married, like we are, having kids and then becoming young parents is so hard. Honestly, even if you're in your 50s, 60s and you have children still in the home, like, how do you keep the marriage flourishing as you are parents trying to survive and thrive with the kids?
You put each other first, always. Like, our kids know it's us against them. Like, legit, you are not going to come to me after daddy told you no.
That's so
because
good.
you know that daddy and mommy are a force.
Same team.
And we're on the same team. And we've made that clear from the beginning. Like, there's no jealousy. We don't say, oh, mommy's kissing daddy. Like, no, we do group hugs. Mommy and daddy have date nights. Like, Levi's in that age. Zarin is obsessed with me, but Levi's in that age to understand mommy and daddy need alone time. And that doesn't mean I don't love you or I love you any less. Is daddy is my number one. And they understand that.
To the best they can.
To the best they can, without feeling like we don't care. But honestly, putting each other first, it's hard. It's so hard because we're limited, right? I'm not saying go on date nights. We don't have that luxury to do that every single week. Like, our communication is important, is making sure we say goodbye to each other and we honor each other. We look each other in the eyes, even if I've been up nursing a baby all the time, or the way that you love me. I will have to shout out my husband, and I hope other wives don't beat up their husbands for this, but my husband used to get up with me, even if he had to go to work the next day, and change diapers before I had to feed him. You never made me feel alone. You knew the importance of me being able to be seen and feel love, even if that's filling up my water bottle, even if that's, my postpartum period, and like being seen, or like saying, hey, babe, you need to go take a break. Or like, when you come, hey, you need to go. It's very simple things like that that make me feel so seen, that really increase this love and respect for you in our marriage.
That is so well said. It's the equal investment. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, in our marriage and in our parenting, if like what I bring is unique to me, what you bring is unique to you. So if as parents we can invest all that we are into our children, they'll be so much better for it.
100%.
And so put each other first. It models that for our kids so that our sons can learn how to treat women with respect and other people with respect and beauty.
And I don't need that. It also, I'm so passionate about this since I'm a mom of boys. It creates this very healthy dynamic between a mother and a son, and where I'm not married to you. Like, one day you're going to grow up and you're going to go outside of the home. And that is never competition for me. When you bring a girl home, I'm not like, I love your daddy. I'm really content. And I feel for women, for example, your mom who's lost her husband at a young age, right? Like, who had to really depend on her kids or just really survive outside. And I've always thought about that. Like, once I became a wife, my biggest fear was losing you. And then I became a mom, and now my biggest fear is losing my kids. It's like, it's just so heavy, you know, but I am so passionate about making sure that my sons know that mommy's love is their daddy. My love for them is a mother-son love. It's never a romantic love where I feel some type of way when they one day leave the home and they leave me. They're never leaving me. They're not ours to begin with.
That's so good.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. Our kids are borrowed time. I don't like saying 18 summers because that's a lie. Like, we lived with our parents until we were in our 20s, and we will still be their parents. My role as my kid's mother is their mother, not a competition for their future wife. Like, I'm so excited to one day meet my future daughter-in-laws.
And we're praying for them already.
I'm praying for them every single time I think about my kids getting married to a godly woman. I think about it, I pray for them, and I cannot wait to love them the way, like, they're going to wish I was their mama. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to love me so much that they're going to wish I was their mom, because it's never a competition. And that starts now because, again, they're not ours to begin with. They're going to leave the home, and that's what God intended them to do. That's what God did with us, where we found each other and we created, that was a command, like, go out and create your own family and do your own thing. And now that we get to invest that in them, in the little simple things that they see in us, that they can say and take back and be like, no, my mom is very much secure in her love with my dad, that it's never my responsibility to make her feel that. So I did want to clarify that, because him calling me my love is not a way of him saying that is my love. It's the example you have set for them.
That's so good. Yeah, we could talk about this for a while. We're not saying that parenting is easy. I hope that you've heard us say it's so difficult, and there's beauty and life in it. And so there's a brave step for us all to take. I would encourage all of us, look at your sphere of influence and consider pouring into somebody that's younger than you. You know, Mar and I have had the honor to do that. We still do that as parents with our own kids, but we know we've been called to be spiritual parents to other people.
And before we became parents, we used to babysit for free, especially leaders in our lives. I'm like, yo, y'all go out, have a date night, let us watch your kids, because we know the importance of what it's like to invest in your marriage.
Absolutely.
But then also the importance of the kids being able to see that in your marriage.
Yeah, and man, if you're just like a person that's not a parent, maybe you're younger or older, and you've had some kind of separation with your parent, I just want to encourage you. I don't know what happened, but I'm like, when we became parents, there was a rise of empathy in me for my parents that I did not have before I was a parent. That's just me. And so I would encourage you, like, remember that your parents are human.
Yes.
Intentional parenting helps that work early, that we can encourage our kids to say now in their toddlerhood and child, like, yo, we're human too.
What do you say to
and
Levi?
We fail.
Like, when Levi's like, Dad, you know everything. And you're like, I actually don't.
Yeah,
son.
I don't. Yeah. Him knowing that now, like, I don't want to be my son's superhero. Like, that's how he views me. That's amazing. And I'm honored, but I will fail my son. And so again, looking beyond me, I want him to see Dad as somebody who's doing his best, who works super hard, and that loves him more than anything. And I believe we have a superhero, and it's not me. Like, it's God through Jesus. So yeah, babe. Anything else you would say to somebody who maybe is not a parent and they need a word, or somebody that is a parent that needs a word?
I think this world is just longing for love. Yeah. So if you put yourself out there and you love others and you love them well, it is the same impact as someone who's raising their family, because you're making a statement and you're changing the future generation. So plug yourself in. Everyone has a little love to give, and doing that, it's really important. And if you do have people in your life who have kids, we are so blessed with amazing friends and an amazing community who blessed us with our children, and they don't necessarily want kids, and that's okay.
Oh, and my gosh.
We journey with them as well, and it's such a beautiful thing.
To give to us. Because they have the capacity, without having their own kids, to kind of pour themselves out to our kids and us. Is amazing. So I think I want to end by just blessing you. I love to use that word so much, blessing, in this pod. So everybody listening, I just bless you in the name of Jesus as you journey in life, whether you are a parent or not, whether your parents are still alive or not, whether you have an amazing relationship with your parents or not. I just bless you to see them for who they are, humans trying their best. If there's reconciliation that needs to happen, I just bless you with reconciliation, with the bravery to take the first step if that's what you're supposed to do in the journey of healing. I bless you to forgive your parents. I bless you to flourish as a parent, to give yourself grace. Mama, pops, if you're doing your best, that is enough. We just bless you to know that there is a heavenly Father that loves you, that modeled sacrificial love to us, and we can follow that example, not perfectly, but faithfully. So I bless you today as you journey in your parenting and help champion those that are parenting. That's your brave step, and we bless you today. See you next time. Peace.